It took us 7 years to get Muircroft somewhere on a stage, and managed to get it in the main house theatre at the Tron. A lot of people, I felt like a lot of people were already going to be like, what's going on here? Why is this getting put on? A show about 7 guys and it's about football. Why would you put this on? Do you know? But like, luckily for us, we had the Tron's backing and Andy's backing, and
Andy being the
Andy Arnold, the artistic director at the time.
Right.
And with us as well, luckily all the cast and even is it the stage crew as well, they all knowing Ailey and knowing how incredible she is, and we were all, and knowing her story about her dad as well, we were all just really just passionate about wanting to tell us.
I mean, it's always funny when it comes to like the business side of theatre, because like on the one hand, like, oh, who wants to put on a play like that? On the other hand, a working class story about football in Glasgow. I wonder who would be the audience.
Right, exactly.
Who would want to see that in Glasgow?
It's just like, you know, I'm all for putting on like the classics and putting on theatre and making weird shit, but also at the same time, like, we're in a bubble in the arts. We kind of forget that sometimes we need to make theatre for people who aren't in the arts. I feel like we put on a lot of stuff that can appease a certain crowd and be like, look how creative and magical we can be with this, and you're like, no, can we just tell a story about working class people?
I mean, just tell a true story and it will resonate, and you know, and there's some fantastic stories. Like, if you want drama, if you want to talk, I mean, it reminds me of Fences, right? For me, it's one of the most beautiful plays, and like, I've seen the film with Denzel Washington, and that's again, it's like a working class story in like a city, you know, in America.
Fences is incredible. I did a scene from that in my showcase.
So heartbreaking.
It's brutal, especially the father and son dynamic.
Yeah. But it resonated, like that kind of took me back home to like East Romania, growing up in the 90s.
Same with me, with my dad. Like, my dad was hard on me. Yeah. You know, like, I think with a lot of kids with a certain background, like, you know, I watched the scene with James Earl Jones. Was
right. Okay, is that the I Don't Have to Like You?
Yeah, I Don't Have to Like You. Like, I remember watching that scene, I was like, this is a conversation I've had. I'm pretty sure
man, like, it took
this conversation, and I was like, wow. But like you say, stories like that would resonate with anyone, and like, especially when you surround it in like a working class story with football in this city alone. Do you know? Doing a show about that's going to get people in, and the Tron did a really interesting survey that when we first started Muircroft and the tickets sold, 50% of the audience have never set foot in a theatre before. Never. And
interesting.
For that to be their first show to see, they were instantly like, yeah, we want to come back again. So it's a testament to not just the show we made, but the story that Ailey brought to stage has brought people that would never even think about going to a theatre in that building, and that's why we do what we do on stage.
No, it's interesting, but it's always like sometimes when they tell working class stories, they want to dumb them down a bit. Almost like there's genuine drama in the working class life. Like, mine it, tell it, you know. Well, like, and there's plenty of people that want to tell those stories as well.
I don't want to speak broadly, but from my perspective, and especially I've worked in many levels of theatre now. Like, there is a major class issue, and you toward this without sounding pure like a dick, but a lot of people you see in charge, a lot of people that you've meet, a lot of people that give the money, you're just like, you don't have a concept of, I don't want to say struggle, everyone struggles in their own type of way, you don't, like, you can tell when you speak to someone, like, you know, like, your parents have never argued over money, about spending stuff in a month. And like, in the arts, it's very much like that, because when you see it with the articles with Guardian and a lot of working class actors way beyond my generation talking about how now it's become like a hobbyist thing.
Yeah, Eccleston talks a lot about Christopher Eccleston. Well, yeah, had a bunch of comments about that.
Necessarily, they're not wrong most of the time. I think for us in Scotland, we've got an okay balance.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunities for working class people. What I say a lot, that I don't know. To be quite frankly honest, I won't really know the numbers.
Days. Yeah,
we're still early days. We've still got a lot to work through, but I think it is getting better.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough, man. I get what you mean though, because like maybe this is I'm someone who's it came over to the UK for acting, and I've learned a lot of lessons starting to do stand up about putting yourself forward and networking, and I've realised that I didn't necessarily do those things in the acting world, but I have noticed that, for instance, for me, stand-up seems to be quicker and just easier to navigate, simply because it doesn't need that big of a, I just need a mic, my jokes, and an audience.
Yeah.
Right?
And like,
there's no rehearsal space, there's no, things like that.
And like, also with, I guess with stand-up as well, like, again with theatre, with the stand-up is generally it's a performance for every person. While theatre should be like that, however, it's not these days anymore, because that's down to education as well, and a social structure we live in, and also inaccessibility in terms of affordability.